First, it was the religious oppression and manipulation of the witch. Then it was the psychological descent into insanity in the lighthouse. Now it is the brutally visceral tale of a Viking's revenge in the Northman. Let's talk about it. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to The Haunted Beard. My name is Jake. Now, listen, I know I have been reviewing the Scream franchise, but I finally had the opportunity to watch probably my most anticipated movie coming out this year, and that is Robert Eggers' The Northman. Robert Eggers has quickly become one of my favorite working directors, and so I finally had the opportunity to watch this movie. Couldn't pass it up, and so let's talk about it. But before we do, if you like content like this and you are interested in more videos like this, that is what I do on my channel, The Haunted Beard. It is all horror and thriller movie talk. So do me a favor, click that red subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Now let's get into the movie. So The Northman is an action-filled epic that follows a young Viking prince named Amleth on his quest to avenge his father's murder. And the first thing I have to talk about when it comes to this film is this film just oozes authenticity. Pretty much everything about it just feels so authentic and so real, and that can just largely be attributed to Robert Eggers. This movie is absolutely gorgeous. Everything about it, again, feels real, just from everything with the production value and the costuming down to just the way the film was written. I know Eggers does just an incredible amount of research into the time periods for his films, so that just everything from this dialogue to the costumes to the production design and everything just feels as real and authentic as possible, and he did that again here with The Northman. And because this film feels so authentic, it just creates such an immersive experience that you feel like you get to know part of the Scandinavian Viking culture of the day. This culture that has been gone for, probably close to 1,000 years. But man, it's like we're just seeing it as it really was and really existed. And all that is just attributed, again, to just that authentic feel of this film. This movie is just beautifully filmed. So many wide shots just capturing the scenery and the landscape of the area are just absolutely gorgeous. I could just go on and on about this film from a visual perspective. There's a lot of scenes that are set at night that are just lit by fire, and so you get these beautiful kind of silhouette shots and just this gorgeous looking orange glow to everything. It just looks fantastic too. So many of the sequences are done with sort of long tracking shots or dolly shots, and the camera work here is just incredible. There's a scene earlier on in the film where Alexander Skarsgård, who plays our main character Amleth, attacks this village with this horde of Vikings, and man, that sequence is just incredible. The camera work is just amazing. It's all done with just a couple really long extended takes, sort of tracking shots, as it just follows these Vikings into this village, and they just lay waste to everybody in this village. But man, just those extended long takes really contribute to the overall immersive experience and just contribute to the authenticity of just this world, as you just totally feel immersed into this Viking culture, and you just really feel like you're kind of there and watching it and are a part of it. And man, it's just incredible. I cannot say enough good things about this. Just from a visual production value perspective, it is all just top notch. Now, in terms of the narrative, this is more or less a story that we are familiar with and that we have heard before. I was doing some research into the movie, and the story of Amleth comes from some of the old, Norse legends and tales. But then I found out there was a connection to it, that it kind of influenced Shakespeare's Hamlet. And so you can see some connections there about a boy losing his father, going away kind of in exile, and then coming back to exact revenge. And so it's a story it's an old story and a revenge story that we have seen multiple times, and so it doesn't necessarily break any ground from a narrative perspective, but really where this movie shines is just simply in its presentation. how it tells that story, and it just tells it in an absolutely beautiful way. Another one of the aspects of this film that I really liked is that it weaves in Norse mythology and legend into the story. And there's this whole kind of theme of fate. What is Amleth's fate? And there's just a lot of cool elements of that mythology and legend that are weaved directly into the story, that it kind of takes the story sort of and elevates it almost to kind of a fantasy, fantastical type of level that I really like, because again, it kind of immerses you into that culture and understanding the Viking way of life, and just their stories and their beliefs, and how they saw the world. And I really liked that. I thought it was really interesting, and that is one of the highlights of the movie for me. Now, the way the story unfolds, it is a little bit slower paced at times, and that's not necessarily a negative. There is kind of a portion, maybe right around the middle of the movie, where the movie kind of hits maybe a bit of a lull and kind of starts slowing down a little bit. And then we go to the next chapter, and that really sort of changes the pacing and gets the story back on track and moving a little more fast. This movie is told in 5 chapters. And so as it shifts to that next chapter, it kind of takes us out of a little bit of that lull moment and gets us back on track, and it's pretty much just go all the way to the end. I just can't say enough good things about Robert Eggers and his vision for this film. As I said, this is a revenge story, and a story that we're all familiar with and have heard many times before. But just his presentation of it is incredible, and the way he visualizes so many of the scenes. And there are many scenes that feature kind of these like Viking rituals, and just sort of his eye for presenting those, the way that they're shot and the images that are on screen and the way that they're lit and just the sound design and everything, just his vision coming to life for these sequences, I just thought was just incredible. And he has just such a creative eye from taking this old story that we've all heard so many times, but just presenting it to us in a way that just feels so unique and special and fresh. And I think that just speaks volumes to his abilities as a director. So there is just so much more I could say about this movie. Nicole Kidman, too, has just a great scene later on in the movie where she just shines, and I thought her performance, specifically in that scene, was just top-notch. Another highlight for me. There's so much more I could say if I was to get into spoilers, but I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I really like this movie. Robert Eggers, as I said, he's one of my favorite directors now. He's 3 for 3 as far as I'm concerned, and I can't wait to see what this guy does next. So I had a great time with this movie, and I can't say enough good things about it. So The Northman, for me, overall, probably going to be 8 to 8.5 out of 10 for this one, but I definitely plan on returning to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again. So those are just some of my thoughts on The Northman. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to be getting back on track to my Scream franchise reviews, and so up next will be Scream 2022, and we will see you then on The Haunted Beard.